This is episode 66.
Welcome to the Ultimate Deck Podcast.
Ultimate Deck Podcast.
Helping you keep your finger firmly pressed on the decking industry, the people in it, and the information you need to master the backyard. And now, host of the Ultimate Deck Podcast, Shane Chapman.
Howdy, friends, on this glorious weekend of beautiful warm weather up here in Regina, Saskatchewan.
Really nice out today.
It is unbelievable. So a little bit maybe warmer than seasonal for us in February. Usually this month's a bit of a write-off, but this year's been really decent.
Good compared to last year. Last year was brutal.
Last year was the coldest February we've had in 85 years. Remember that? They said that. That's a true story.
I do remember that.
It rarely got above minus 30.
And the sales were bumping in here.
Yeah, and selling. I had a phone call yesterday with a guy from Virginia, I believe, and he loved that he was calling Canada. He was just here because he was at WRLA in Calgary a month ago, but it was still novel to him.
Why is he so excited that he's calling Canada? It's like, oh my God, they have phones up there.
First thing he says, he's like, how cold is it there right now? What's the temperature? And I was like, it's actually pretty decent today. It's like +4, which would be about, 40 degrees or so. He's like, no, it's not. Yep, it is. It can't be that. That's warmer than it is here, and I'm in Virginia. And I was like, not sure what to tell you, buddy, but
I have nothing to gain.
That's what the temperature is right now. Well, it's only 37 here. That shouldn't even be possible. I was like, yeah, well, you win some, you lose some.
That's funny.
Yeah. Do you guys have to plug your vehicles in every night there? Does that happen? You actually do that? Well, most people do. I'm not great at it.
Or we get new batteries.
I buy a new battery every winter. I'd rather spend that $150 than have to plug in my car when it's minus 50 out.
The reason I never plugged my vehicle in when it was cold is I
park in a garage.
No, well, that's now, right? But back, like when I didn't park in a garage, I would often pull up to the house and then be like, I'm going to go out later. And so then I won't plug it in now.
No, you're not.
Right. And so I would, I always thought, I thought I was leaving to go play hockey, or I was going to go for drinks, or I was going to leave and go get groceries or whatever. I'll plug it in then, get home, have something to eat, sit down on the couch. It's like, I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, exactly. And so then I wouldn't get up to run out and plug it in. I knew I should. I knew that I should go and be like, but yeah. It'll start tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, it's all good. Again, today it's, I don't know what it is, but it's 40 again or something. Yeah. Okay, so 32. So not bad considering it's February in Saskatchewan. Today we are, we're going to get into the topic quick this time.
I think
Mike will be so happy.
Do you have
some news for Mike?
I got some news for Mike.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I got a little bit of news.
Let's get after that then.
Okay, so
Mike from Simcoe.
Happening in Simcoe County this week.
What's happening in Simcoe? We forgot to record that with Joey.
We should get Joey to send us a thing.
We should.
It looks like Simcoe County is getting a new well.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, so there was a development charge study released last year that projected the population of Clearview Township is going to increase by 5,800 people in the next 5 years, 10,000 in the next decade. So they've approved a new well. So
a new well?
Yeah, take for water.
Okay.
Clearview could be flush with water thanks to the new well. Here we go.
So when people are like, do you have running water up there? Well,
kind of.
Barely.
Yeah, we dig a big hole and then we pump it out.
As long as John pumps Okay.
That's what's going on in Simcoe. That's it. I don't want to do anymore. We're going
to need some clarity from Mike on that one. Like, why are they punching wells? Don't they have...
Well, where do you think the water comes from?
Well, what are they talking... Why are they calling it a well? Like, are they...
Well, that's where most water comes from, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but you say well, I think like digging a well on a farm. For groundwater, not that they're not pulling it out with a pumping station out of a lake or something. It's like, we got to drill a new well.
Right.
I guess maybe they're pulling groundwater. Fine.
Yeah. Well, that's where some of the best water comes from.
It's true.
Where we grew up,
where you can't
all
piss
our water was groundwater.
Yeah.
We drilled wells, but there was like Kisby had wells and Arcola had wells.
Yeah. But this is a city of like 160,000
Doesn't matter
people.
where the big the city is. It's like the water comes from where the aquifer is. Like,
I guess you just go get the water where it is.
Yeah.
Like, I decide I want water here now.
I'm taking the water from the clouds today.
Yeah.
Settle down. You'll get it from the river like everybody else.
Drilling wells up here like it's going out of style.
Plus it's warmer down there. They don't freeze that way.
Design services. We're talking about 3D design today.
Yeah.
Because we've dodged this maybe not we, I'll take, I've dodged this topic for quite some time because I'm like, well, how do you talk about an extremely visual service on a podcast? But for lack of figuring out something better to talk about today, we're going to talk about this. But no, it's just we'll have some videos that are going to come up on this kind of stuff as well. But we're going to talk about the podcast a little bit because it's that time of year. It's the end of February going into March. Now's when people should be kind of planning their decks because the season's going to get going here right away if it hasn't already for a lot of guys.
Yep.
And so if customers are out there wanting to start planning in the backyard, this is something that they should consider, is getting a 3D design done.
Yeah, everybody's got home shows coming up right away. So maybe you offer that at the home show?
Yeah, you could.
You know what I mean? Maybe
we did
talking to people about
the home show, not last year, but the booth we used to have a couple of years ago, we had a computer sitting there that was going through like some 3D visual walkthroughs that people could watch.
That worked really good.
So anyway, we want to touch on it because not everybody's doing it. A lot of guys are now. Like a lot of guys have implemented doing 3D design services as compared to 5 years ago, let's say. It's affordable to get into, and competitively, before it used to give you a leg up, and now you're almost getting to the point where if you're not doing it, you might have like you got the leg down. Leg down?
I'd just go disadvantage.
Oh, okay. Then you don't have that advantage.
Yeah, but somebody in your market's probably already doing that.
For sure they are. It just depends on
Ontario guys market.
Yeah. Depends on who your customers are, I guess. If you're just out there banging off 10 by 10 treated decks all day long, you're probably not competing with somebody that's doing 3D designs in those. Not necessary.
Yeah, and I don't think you should do a design for a 10 by 10.
Yeah. You can get the gist of that off a sketch on a piece of paper.
It would be framed by the time you finish doing your like your 3D render, right?
Yeah. But where this stuff comes in handy is something that's a little bit more custom, a little bit more extravagant. Maybe it's a whole backyard plan. You know, maybe the customer just doesn't have the ability to visualize things real well. And so doing these 3D designs allows people to not have to try to visualize it. They just get to see what it's going to look like before the hammer ever hits the nail.
Yeah.
So it's a great service to offer. The value from the customer side, obviously, is that ability to be able to visualize things and remove any communication errors. So that's probably one of the biggest things when you get into these projects that are a little bit bigger, or there's some custom piecework type stuff that's happening. If you're not on the same page because you're not describing it correctly, or you're sketching a picture, but it's not real accurate, or maybe you are describing it just fine, but the person on the other end, they don't have the background of construction and have seen things before and spent time in magazines. They don't have a way of like developing that accurate image in their head of what you're talking about.
Yeah, they maybe don't know how you're going to put that together. I'm going to put a privacy wall here and it's going to be a weaved panel and blah, blah, blah. They might not have a clue.
Yeah.
They might not know what the words mean.
Right.
It's their first deck.
Or miscommunication.
Or second deck,
You say slat, they picture whatever. It just helps to remove any potential issues down the road. Because if you go and build that thing and then they're like, well, that's not what we talked about. Well, that's what I was talking about. Well, I thought you meant something else, right? Yeah. So having that design to be able to show them just removes any potential ambiguity between the, kind of understanding what each other's talking about. So,
and I think it also helps trigger ideas too, right? And so if people are looking at the sketch, then they can start visualizing or imagining how they're going to use that space. And all of a sudden it's like, well, you know what? Maybe I don't want that wall there like that. So I thought I did.
Exactly.
But now that I see it, it's kind of blocking that window. And I really like how that window looks out on the deer that walks by here all the time. Yeah. And so as soon as you put that thing into like an actual image, it's like, oh, right. Yeah. Because with 3D designs, you're able to manipulate it. You can walk around and, you can actually walk through the deck and use
you can get a pretty good feel for a space without ever being there. And some guys are getting into like the virtual reality. So you put that headset on and you're there already. You're like, well, I'm not going to spend $50,000 on a deck. I'm just going to get a $500 virtual reality headset and sit on my couch and enjoy my outdoors.
Yeah, we'll all program and then sit and have beers together here in my couch.
But we actually had a really good example of that happen a couple of years ago. We had a customer come in they were out of town, kind of almost down where we're from, I think the Oxbow area, if I'm not mistaken. And the wife of the house knew that they had a huge backyard. They were on a farm, big, wide open backyard. And she thought, that means I want a big, wide set of steps that go into the backyard. I want it just to be open, inviting, and no barriers between the house, the deck, and the backyard, this huge backyard. I want that. Paid for the design, saw the big, wide steps in the back, and was like, this is weird, but I actually think I hate how that, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like the big wide steps.
That would have cost her a fortune.
Oh my God. It was like 40 feet wide of steps or something. Maybe it wasn't 40, but 30, I bet. And she was dead set that was the feature she wanted.
It's like $2,000 set of stairs.
Yeah. If like per day of labor. Yep. Anyway, it was a big deal, and she saw it and was like, "Oh, cold hard stop. Let's shrink those steps down. Let's put some planter boxes in. And then happy." Like avoided a potential gigantic issue just by getting that 3D design done. And at the end of the day, what most guys are charging for it is a drop in the bucket in the overall cost of the project. And a lot of people will potentially rebate that back if you end up hiring them to do something or whatever. But even if they don't, to spend that few $100 or $1,000, few $1,000, whatever it is, depending on the size of the project, is usually a fraction of the actual cost of the project to get that reassurance.
Yep. So. And I think you can manipulate that dollar value however you want. You can either charge less for it and not rebate it back, or charge lots and then,
or treat it as a completely separate service. You don't have to, you don't have to tie it to the actual project. Because a lot of people will just hire a landscape designer to do the whole backyard, and the landscape designer designs the deck as well, and then a contractor builds it. It doesn't need to necessarily be linked.
Yep.
But anyway,
so maybe you're super passionate about doing these designs, and like you suck at building decks. Just do that. Then just do designs, maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
Leave the tools in the trailer.
Yeah.
For somebody else.
So I think that the value is pretty obvious for both contractor and homeowner.
Yeah.
Or deck receiver, whoever it is, even if it's a contractor, right? Like a home builder. Could you imagine presenting that to a home builder, being like, here's how this is going to look on the home.
Yeah.
They could take it to their client. All of a sudden their client is like, wow, my home builder did a 3D walkthrough. It's like, you did that. So anyways, there's so much value to it.
100%, especially on the customer side, but also for the contractor. We mentioned the competitive advantage thing. So if you're in a market and you're competing 3 guys for one job, and you're the guy who provides the design and nobody else did, or even gives you has the ability to do it, maybe you charge for it, but you at least have the option and the other guys don't. Yeah. Like that gives you an immediate leg up right there.
Yeah.
So, but the biggest thing is just like clearing the air. Like you're not going to go to a home builder and build a house without seeing a render of it. You're not like, I've got $600,000 to spend. Okay, sounds good. We're going to put like a living room in the front, and there'll be like a set of steps outside. We'll have like 4 windows above that. And like the pitch in the roof will be like 312 on the front, but then there'll be a little gable. Like there's no chance. You're like, sounds good. Yeah. Where do I sign?
We're going to use like a brown stucco.
Yeah.
What? No, I want to see the color of the stucco.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't do other big projects like that. And as decks and backyards become more and more an area where people are spending big money on, there's more and more chance you don't want to not know what you're buying before you buy it.
Yeah.
So,
and you also don't, like, from the contractor side, you don't want to be the guy that messed that up.
Exactly.
It's so expensive. Like, it is so expensive to make a mistake.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever. It used to be not too bad when it was 5/4 treated material.
Yeah.
Fine. Right? Like it's
when a board was $17, not $170.
Couple hours, but when when they're $100 and some bucks a board, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Like that set of stairs for that lady, that's a perfect example.
Yeah, I always go back to that one when this comes up.
That would be the best $500 she's ever spent in her whole life.
Right? Yeah. So
good.
So tons of value for everybody involved in the process. How you want to charge for it is up to you.
Yeah.
Like charge it and leave it. It's just a added value service that you provide, or you could rebate part of it back as a contractor if you want, if they're going to go with you or something, or some guys I'm sure charge and then give it all back if they hire you. Like there's different ways to go about doing this.
Yep.
What I wouldn't suggest is doing it for free all the time, unless it's just a super basic, takes you 5 minutes to do kind of thing. Then okay, fine, do what you will. But these 3 to do an actual like full nice video walkthrough of stuff takes a lot of time, and you shouldn't be giving that away for free, is my only opinion on this. Charge something. Figure out your time and what you need to charge to do it. But
it's also the other reason I like the idea of charge something is if you give that away, your very first interaction with that customer knows that you'll give stuff away.
Yeah.
And so then you get into the process of building the deck and they're like, oh, what about a planter? You already give shit away.
Yeah.
Give me that.
Looks like you have some extra cutoffs. You should just build that now.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah,
don't
that's a good
devalue
point.
yourself.
Yeah. And not only that, but then you're going to get every single quote you do, they're going to expect a 3D design with it, whether it really needs it or not.
Yep.
And it's like, no. And now you're doing designs left, right, and center for tire kickers. Used to take you an hour to visit the client and then an hour to put the estimate together. Now you're going to add another hour or two to do a 3D design for that too. Like, you don't want that.
Yep.
Time well spent if you're getting the job, but, so the programs, there's different programs out there. There's a lot of programs out there. You don't have to necessarily get into something too extravagant. There are free options out there that you can find even on like Simpson Strong Tie as their new deck designer. If it's more basic, these tools will work just fine. Dex.com, Trex's website, like a lot of brands and manufacturers out there have some sort of...
Fiberon's got one too, right?
Yeah. They've got their visualizers or their deck building tools, whatever you can use. And they're more basic for sure. You're not going to get too crazy custom with them, but if you're just looking to help somebody visualize their 2-tier deck that has a certain style of railing on it, they'll work great. And some of them you can import the customer's picture of their house into, and so they get a real feel for it. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely that option. That's a no cost option because they're free for anybody to use. You could even just give those links to your potential customers and be like, here, like play around with it and see what you think you might like, right?
Yeah.
The other option is
a good place to start. You know, maybe you just start with
probably is. Yeah. Tinker with it and see if it's even up your alley. Yeah. Because the other option is to sub that out. You can offer design without having to design it yourself.
Yes.
So we offer a design service. We have a designer on staff now. And so if somebody's looking to have a design done, they're not computer tech, like savvy or techie or whatever.
Or they don't want to.
Or they just don't want to spend the extra time to do the designs. There's no more hours in the day.
Yeah.
Then hire somebody else to do it and still offer that service.
Do the things you're good at, right? It's like, what are you good at? Well, I'm good at like business development, or I'm good at actually building the deck. So then just do that.
Yeah.
You're more valuable doing the thing you're good at.
And if you can pay somebody $300, $500, $800, whatever it is, but it saves you 12 hours of time.
Yes.
And then you can turn around and you can put a margin on that and make some money on it if you want anyway.
Should put a margin on it.
So yeah, don't bang your head against the wall trying to learn something that you're not comfortable with. But there's a variety of programs out there that you can pay for that'll give you obviously more tools and more capability than what the kind of basic free ones are that are online. So the one that we use is called Real-Time Landscape Architect. We really like that one.
Yep.
It's not very expensive. Like I think they have three different tiers. And so you can kind of get into it a little bit for pretty low cost. I think like maybe $100, $150, something like that. It might not even be that. It might be like 80. It's been a while. Or their all-in one is only like 400 or something, I believe, US dollars.
I want to say there was 400.
I feel like for us Canadian boys, it was under $500 all in. And so pretty decent value if you're going to use it. You make that back on one design.
Yep.
It's super simple. It allows you to create these designs. If you're going to do a basic design, you could be done in 10 minutes. You want to do a whole backyard, be a little bit more extravagant, then it's going to take a few hours or a day or whatever, depending on the scale of the project. But bottom line is it's not wireframed CAD software like a SketchUp or something where you got to kind of draw every line. This thing has built-in rendering that you just kind of say, I'm building a deck, draw out the shape of the deck, poof, there's a deck there. Change the color of your deck boards, change the style of your railing.
Yeah, but you can also import things from SketchUp, right?
Correct. Yeah, you can import.
And so if there's something that you want to build in SketchUp, you're like, I need to build a Toya grid. You like build that in SketchUp and then put it in.
And there are some modeling tools within Real-Time Landscape Architect as well. That you can kind of create your own. Like I've created a Toya grid mostly in that. Like you can create your own custom pergolas with some modeling tools that they have. Mm-hmm. But there's just a lot of built-in stuff that speeds up the process for you. There's another program called Structure Studios. I don't know exactly what they call it, but Structure Studios is who makes it. It looks very similar. I believe price points are roughly similar. I have not used it. I downloaded the trial and was going to go through it a little bit to understand it a bit more, but I haven't done that yet. But it's another option that some people are using that you may find works for you too. So they both have trials. So download a trial and play around with it and see if there's an interface that you feel more comfortable with. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
If you want to get really wicked.
I can't speak to any of these. I haven't used any of them.
Yeah. You want to get really wicked, you can get into like some bigger programs, and probably the one that people are pumping out the coolest stuff out of is SketchUp. So like Robert with Deck South now, he's like, if you're looking for absolute
all his stuff
realism,
in SketchUp?
Yeah.
Holy sh!
So SketchUp, add in some plugins and some rendering software and whatever else, and it's pumping out stuff that you can hardly tell that it's not real.
That's
like, it's incredible stuff. Now, there's like, so you got to charge a pretty penny for that because
you should.
That takes some time.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a big difference between $500 for real-time landscape architect pumping out a full design in 2 hours versus what Robert or some of these other guys are doing that's giving you like photorealistic renderings. Like now we're in the 5 figures. We're talking like tens of thousands of dollars for a design.
Yep.
Because there's that many more hours involved in putting that together. But you don't need to go that crazy with it. If you're just getting into this, you don't have to go straight to...
You shouldn't.
Faking reality. Like... Real or not, you don't need that. Just a basic 3D rendering will help remove so many of the potential miscommunications that are out there.
You're trying to beat the guy that writes it down on a piece of paper. Like just sketches it with a ruler. That's what you're trying to be better than. So be better than that.
Yeah.
And then when your market gets to the point where everybody's kind of using a 3D render of some kind, then maybe real-time landscape architect is the move. And then you can start to do some backyards and patio stuff. And it's like, oh, okay, well, this guy's like, he's even better than that. Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. When or if it ever makes sense to go to that level of detail for you depends. Robert is working for Deck South, whose projects probably rarely cost under $100,000. Like they build like massive, unbelievably gorgeous.
Did you see Deck South?
Utmost level of detail.
He commented on the video yesterday. Yeah.
It did. So their renders match what they build. Like you're not going to sell a $10,000 design to somebody who's spending $10,000 on their deck.
Yeah.
It's just a different ballpark that they're playing in than most guys. Right. So know your audience. If your average job is $20,000, well, maybe you should be offering designs in the, like, shoot for the 1% number, around $200 to $500, call it 1 to 2 or 3%.
Yep.
If you're selling jobs that are $200,000, well, then you can probably sell a design for $10,000.
Yep.
So, pricing's up to you. Figured out. I think the moral of the story, though, is that it's a very valuable thing, and it's kind of it's becoming almost something you have to do if you're taking your business seriously as a deck builder. It's something that people are starting to not expect, but they know it's available out there now, and so making it part of your package just puts you on another level.
I wonder if there's like other, like maybe lumber yards that should be doing that or are doing that. So maybe it's not the contractor because they're busy, right? Contractors are busy. So maybe it works better if where they're buying their materials from does it for them. Maybe
you're probably not going to, well, there might be some lumber yards that use their cell jacks or their built-in whatever. That stuff's not going to be any better of a design or whatever than your free tools online. But you also want the mind behind it, I think, a lot of the times. Because if it's just like, here's a sketch and it's 10 by 20 and then a second tier off the octagonal shape and you draw it and you're just like, make that in real life, then sure, maybe those yards can do that. But you could also do that yourself in 20 minutes, or the customer could do that themselves in one of those free designers. But if you're looking for somebody with some creativity that's like, hey, I've got a budget of $80,000 and I want something cool and unique, then you don't want just anybody behind the computer sketching it up. You want somebody that can have a bit of a vision and can
old Fred
bring some creativity to it.
Crutchety old Fred in the back room.
Yeah.
And you're like,
but his idea of $80,000 is just like 1,000 square feet.
Yeah.
It's just like, I just made it bigger because you said the budget was bigger. Okay. Well, I was hoping we could add some flair to it, but okay.
I did 4 tiers.
Yeah, exactly. So we offer that service and I've always enjoyed getting in the creative mindset and coming up with cool, unique features. And when I was building, I used to love the projects where I got a chance to do something a little bit more creative. And that's the stuff that gets you noticed and gets people kind of chatting about you, is the stuff you do that's like, wow. You're like, how did you even do that?
Yeah.
And so those ideas those start as ideas first. And so with our design service, we have Juanita now, who's going to be tackling some of our 3D designs with my assistance with her. So we got a couple good creative minds behind this service we're offering that, if, like I said, if you don't want to get into design yourself and don't have to learn how to do it and whatever else, hire somebody. There's guys out there that are doing it. And we're one of them. So if you need a design, just shoot us a message. Let's figure out some sort of agreement. We can provide that service to you and you can resell it to your customer, and then everybody wins. So, but anyway, if you are willing to tackle it, download some of the free trials. play around with things a little bit. If you find it comes to you naturally and it's easy and it's like a fun kind of almost release for you creatively, instead of working with your hands, you're like, I really enjoy this, then do it.
Yeah.
So I know for me, we always have a to-do list of 1 million items every day. And every night after my kids go to bed, I'm like, okay, I got to do something. And if I'm really not feeling it, if I'm really like, oh, I don't want to sit down and write process documents. I don't want to submit orders right now. I almost always am willing to sit down and do something creative with design. So it's like, I don't want to do any of this other stuff. It's like, okay, we'll sit down and design something then. And that just like, that wakes me up.
And then that's how we have a design of a like store. It's like, we're going to put the shelving like this and we'll put, that works good.
Yeah. So
works good for me.
If you're the type of person. Anyways, we just wanted to touch on the 3D design a little bit because we hadn't before. And it's just this is the time of year when that is happening. People are starting to plan.
Yeah.
Our season kicks off here in about a month. Typically around end of March, early April is kind of when people really start flying in. The home shows are happening. Things are going. If you're in a more southern market, things are probably going for you already.
Yeah.
But 3D design should be a part of the conversation now.
It should be part of the conversation, right? Yeah. It's just talk to them about it.
Check those programs out. If you have any questions about any of those programs or our service that we do offer or anything else about this topic, just shoot us a message on Instagram at The Ultimate Deck Shop, and we'll be sure to help you figure that stuff out.
Certainly willing to chat, right?
Yeah, we're never short on words.
Today we
especially
are.
Especially if you listen to last week's episode.
Hour and a half last week.
It was a little rough. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We will chat with you again. Shoot us a message.
Happy Saturday.
You've been listening to the Ultimate Deck Podcast.
Ultimate Deck Podcast.
Brought to you by the Ultimate Deck Shop. Shop with us at www.ultimatedeckshop.com or check us out at all the social networks we can keep up with. Hit us up for any collaboration or sponsorship opportunities. Thanks for listening.